Hello growers! During this episode we're going to have a brief little talk about the Opticlimate. We're going to break it down into bite-sized chunks, including
how to choose and spec your Opticlimate for your room and area. Commissioning your Opti, buy it from us, we'll do it for you.
Setting up your Opti with the D settings. This is the do's and the do nots, and the correct installation of the cool tube.
Dry running your system before use.
Maintenance once you are up and running, and troubleshooting.
So, which Opti best suits you? There are two types of Opticlimates.
Firstly, the split Opti uses a fan unit. It's connected to the outside of your building and will need its own source of power.
Alternatively, there is the water-cooled unit. This is the version we favour here at One Stop. You can put it where extraction vent kits won't work.
Or aren't easily installed. They are cheaper to run and you don't have to have a large fan installed on the outside of your building.
Once you've made the decision between water-cooled and split Opti, you need to choose a size for your area. There are four basic options.
We've got the 3500, which is for 600 watt lights. We've also got the 6000, which is for 10 600 watt lights. And we've got the 10,000, which is for 16 600 watt lights.
Or there's the 15,000 free phase or the newly 15,000 inverter. This will take up to 24 600 watt lights.
The unit will also work with the equivalent wattage of 400 watt up to 1000 watt. If you are unsure, please take a look at the specs on our website. As a rule of thumb, the optimum area for a 600 watt light is 1.2 meters squared. So by multiplying the number of lights that we need by 1.2 meters squared will give us the approximation of the model of Opti that we'll need, with a little bit of wiggle room.
If you're going to do hot CO2 injection, you need to take this into consideration as well. We've covered this in another video already. If possible, drop a light or take a slightly bigger machine. This means you never need to run the machine at its maximum cooling capacity.
And you'll have the ability to calibrate the cooling capacity, which will need to be changed from time to time depending on the seasons.
So the next step is to install your Opti. Ideally, you want it as high as possible, suspended from the roof, or on a strong stand built above a reservoir tank to optimise space on the room. Make sure that you leave access for airflow and for maintenance.
Or you can choose to put the Opti outside the room. However, you'll need a few additional pieces such as an extra spigot as well as a flaring box.
This means that you can stick the Opti in an adjacent room or works really well with tents. Okay, next, water and power.
So you want to connect the water supply as close to the incoming supply as possible, and be aware that if water's in high demand and if it's a bit too great, then you may show some sort of error code on the display.
So if you're running your Opti, having a shower, filling your tank, you may restrict water flow. In most cases, this is not an issue, but something to be mindful of. Okay, power supply. So you need to ensure that you're using the right side cable for the machine you are using.
The specs are going to vary from unit to unit and be affected by the distance from the fuse board to your Opti. If you have a look at the spec sheet that comes with your Opticlimate, you'll need to ensure that you've got the space on your fuse board, and you'll need to ensure that you get the right size MCB.
You'll need to consider the power usage of the unit, which is low unless you're using all of the heating elements, something you can disable in the D settings of your Opti. We'll cover this in a later video. Also use a D-type breaker as this is less sensitive.
If unsure, seek advice from a qualified Sparky. Other things to think about are, do you need a condensation pump to deal with the condensation waste that comes as a byproduct of cooling? Some people use this in humidifiers, or if their waste point for the hot water is lower than the machine. These are used when you need to push the water away from the machine. Do you need the anti-vibration feet that help take the small amount of vibration away when it's sat on a solid surface?
Other things to think about are plumbing kit bags to make it easy to use UK plumbing fittings. Due to the fact the Opti is a European product, plumbing kits allow easy adaptation from 16mm Euro fittings to the UK standard 15mm fittings. You can use either copper pipe or speed fit fittings, so anyone with a bit of DIY know-how can install these. One Stop source these to make your life easier.
It's also wise, while speccing up these systems, to include an additional set of spare carbon filters, as these need to be changed regularly in order to keep the machine in good working order.
And last but not least, you need to think about air distribution. Here at One Stop we prefer solid ducting and diffusers. This allows you to distribute the air evenly across the room and allowing for correct cooling.
Also, a good practice is to ensure that you dump most of the cold air away from the Opti. This means that it's got time to impact on the grow room itself before returning to the Opti. This is important, as if your air-cooled air is dumped too close to the Opti, you're going to get microclimates and you're going to be getting false readings. I hope this helps. If you need any other information on the Opticlimate, please visit our website at www.onestopgrowshop.co.uk or come and visit us in store.
Watch this space for more videos on Opticlimate, guys. I hope this helps. Happy growing.